It's time for New Wellness TV with Dr. Lee. Join your host, the accomplished Dr. Cherilyn Lee, as she welcomes the leading experts in health and well-being as they explore the advancements in natural health, physical fitness, nutrition, integrative medicine, and self-discovery.
Good day, everyone, or if you're watching in the evening. I just hope whatever time you're watching, you're having a wonderful, blessed moment in your life. You know, there's so much happening right now, as always, but even more so now because of this influenza and the flu and people's immune system. I'm going to go through a little of a journey here myself, but I want to thank a dear friend of mine. I had not seen him in quite a while until I attended the anti-aging convention in Las Vegas. So he is a nutrition consultant to many, many people and just absolutely phenomenal. And I want to thank David Elliott. Thank you so much for being here.
Good seeing you again.
You know, they can't see me shaking hand, but it's okay. I want to thank you so much for being here.
Absolutely.
You
I
know,
believe in what you're doing.
Thank you. And so we're going to be speaking on, strengthening the immune system. And, I want to ask people, how strong is your immune system? And the reason why I asked that question, too, is because the people who were not out in December, and my granddaughter being one, she didn't come down with this flu.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people who kind of stayed away from crowds, drank a lot of fluids and whatever. So how strong is your immune system? And, the people who are getting really sick, obviously their immune system is not quite that strong because it's not going to, put you in bed, and your mortality and morbidity rate, for being in bed and people dying. And my goodness, I didn't really realize how many people in certain areas of the city have actually passed away from this flu. And the worst thing about what's happening right now with the flu is that the hospitals are so congested. My sister, I won't mention the HMO. I should. It starts with a K. But anyway, and she received a letter, and the letter stated, if you have the flu, do not come in. This is what you need to do, because if you do come, your wait is 5 hours or more. Now we find it is 10 hours to 20 hours, your wait going in. And not only are you waiting to be seen, but guess what? You're inundated with everyone else's conditions.
Best place to pick up a secondary infection.
Exactly.
Hospital.
Exactly, in the hospital. We know that. So, we're going to be discussing ways to strengthening your immune system. I have some wonderful tips as far as food, and I know you do too, as what people can do and eat and do. Unfortunately, it hit me after I saw you in Las Vegas.
Yeah, but there were so many people there.
It was so many
Exposed to
people.
a lot of stuff.
I had not had enough sleep.
Bingo.
It was at a wonderful hotel where they were smoking cigarettes. And I already have to really, really take care of myself because I've been in 2 comas. And most people know kind of my journey. And I have a history of asthma, which I don't have. So there's a lot of things I do when a person walks in my door with a cold, or I did for myself. But the sad thing with this particular cold or this virus and influenza, you cough so hard that you stop almost breathing.
Yeah.
I did a test to see a person's oxygen saturation levels to find out they were very low. So you're not getting enough oxygen in when you're doing this coughing. And it happened to increase the blood pressure.
Yeah.
Very, very high, the coughing. So if you're hypertensive already or have high blood pressure and you come down with the flu, be very careful what over-the-counter things that you're taking, because they can really cause you some problems. So, and we know diet, lifestyle. So my lifestyle is really busy, and most people say you need to slow down, but I feel great. And and all I had to do really was to stop. And then there's certain soups, and we'll talk about some things that I did. And
We'll slow down when we die.
Thank you. That's the only time to really slow down.
Amen.
But I had to really take a step back and say, okay, let me stay in bed, because it hit me so hard. And a lot of people are having chest pain with it. So you want to know some things. So we'll discuss. I want everyone to get a pen and paper. We will be giving you a lot of wonderful tips on some things that you can do. And before you even get sick, there's some things you need to know. So prevention is the key. Prevention is always the key. So if you know what your vitamin D3 levels are, if you know what your C-reactive protein levels are, your inflammation markers, if you know all these things prior to, you can do some things to really keep the immune system strong. So,
Absolutely.
David, I'm going to open it up to you.
But, we can't Teflon coat ourselves or a patient. If
Yes.
we're out and about, we're going to be exposed to things. But it doesn't mean that everything we're exposed to, we should bring home and make it our best friend for 10 days or 2 weeks.
Yes.
So it's all about trying to get to a point where your immune system, where you have a resilience so that you don't catch things. And when you talk to patients, how often do you get sick? Well, 2 or 3 times a year. It's like, why do you have that extra time? I don't have time to get sick or die.
2 or 3 times a week?
Maybe
oh, my
like
goodness. Yes.
or 2 or 3 times a year. And it's just, you don't have to catch
Even
everything
once
that
a
goes
year.
around. That's to me, that's once too many.
That's many. People used to say, "Oh, this is the flu season." I don't use that terminology.
No,
because where's the wellness season?
there's not one.
There isn't one.
There should be.
There should be. Yes.
12 months a year.
There should be a wellness season.
Absolutely.
And there isn't a wellness season, and I don't want to get into conspiracy.
We can go all day on that.
We can go all day on that. But if you're out in this air and you could feel it, you can be in the air, or you can open your window and you say, I feel like something just kind of hit me, and then my nose just started running. Well, that's upper respiratory. So when these things happen, like I said, make sure you get a pen and paper, because there's some things you can do right away when those things happen. And also, in a couple of weeks, go to my website. I will be listing a lot of things there for you to do to help you to stay a lot stronger, and some things you can do. And there will be recipes there. So it will be posted on our website at New Wellness Healthcare. Go to our YouTube channel and please subscribe, because everything will be there for you as well, and also for children. So I have some wonderful recipes for kids and for adults to help you to really stay healthy. I just had to kind of stay in bed because it hit me pretty hard.
Yeah.
Blood pressure went up to 200. My oxygen saturation went down to 94. And that was just from coughing, so I got rid of all of that, and I do a nebulizer type of treatment as well. So, the top of the year, our show is wellness, sex, and love.
Amen.
Okay? Wellness,
Absolutely.
sex, and love. So if you have a significant other, it's so important that person, help you out as well. And just some nurturing, the bathing. So let's go through some lifestyle things that you have seen. And we know about the sugars and all that. So go ahead.
What people don't realize is that sugar actually downregulates the immune system.
Mm-hmm.
The phagocytes, the large white blood cells that gobble up viruses and bacteria,
Yes.
are paralyzed in as little as 20 minutes and last for as long as 5 hours.
Say that again.
The phagocytes are paralyzed as quickly as 20 minutes, and it lasts as long as 5 hours from one feeding of sugar.
Sugar now, keep in mind. So you don't want to do fruit juices. You don't want to do any sugar at all when you have a
The
cold.
fruit's fine. The juices, not so much.
Not too much. Don't cookies, cakes, pies. People want to bring you a soda.
Well, we're coming out of the Christmas season where everybody, I'm a Southern boy, I had to bake a pecan pie, but it was gluten-free.
You have some with you? I'm just kidding.
No, I ate that puppy. It took me about a week.
God, oh God, it's so good.
I will bring you one. It's a gluten-free crust.
Oh no, don't bring me a whole one. A smidgen.
But, you eat too much. I'm good most of the time.
Yes.
I don't like Puritans. They're a pain in the butt. You can't take them anywhere. Washing your hands, staying on top of that. People coughing, hacking, sneezing, keep them at an arm's length.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll go down in flames maybe once every 4 or 5 years, and it's usually like when you're at the weekend, you're overstressed, you're flying, you're enclosed in that little tin can with hundreds of your not-so-closest friends.
Oh, yeah.
And you're in a hotel. My God, there were so many people in Vegas
And
for
the
that show.
cigarette smoke, that was
That was odd because, in California, we're not used to being around cigarette smoke in public places.
that was really sad. And then coming back to Los Angeles, we were the plane was packed.
Yeah.
I won't mention the airline.
Yeah, coming and going.
Not good.
Like sardines.
Yeah. We were like sardines. It was 9:30 at night. We had to sit there until 1 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, God.
because we couldn't leave. And everybody was in there coughing. Now, normally I do have my mask. Now, I am developing several kits on many levels that are going to be posted on the website by Friday, so that you'll be able to purchase these kits and keep yourself strong
Cool.
and healthy. So I'm really, really, really excited about so many things.
Well, we're going to be exposed to things, but people think just because we live in Southern California, we all have amazing vitamin D levels. Wrong. No, we
No.
don't.
No.
Because the establishment has told us for 50 years, stay out of the sun. You see these people in Santa Monica walking up the street, they look like they're auditioning for a Twilight series. They're translucent. It's like, take your hat off, get out and get some sun.
Exactly.
And you'll see in the teens, and ideally for optimum immune function, you want 60 to 80 on your vitamin D. It's a cheap test. Every time somebody sticks a needle in your vein to draw blood, insist they do your vitamin D, because it will vary depending on time of the year.
Exactly. And what I tell people, and I think Direct Labs is one too, you can go to,
Yeah.
but Life Extension,
We do a good panel.
they do a
Absolutely.
very good panel. I send all my patients there to do your C-reactive protein, do
Absolutely.
your inflammation markers, your homeocysteine, your vitamin D3, know what those levels are. Now, I do a lot of IV nutrition, so I could do a vitamin C push, and that helps in getting the minerals. After working in emergency medicine, the most common complaint people came in, a common symptom that they came in with was dehydration.
Oh, absolutely.
So you say, what water? I know my daughter is doing a lot of black water. It's one that you buy, and it's full of minerals and electrolytes, and it's very good.
Well, our minerals have been gone from our foods.
Oh,
It's noted in the
isn't there.
congressional record back in 1936, that tape that went around 20 years ago, Dead Doctors Don't Lie. There's absolutely a core kernel of truth to that.
Oh, yes, I know. I know him quite well. I
Even-
told him I'm going to do a sequel, and it's called Back from the Dead.
But we don't,
but
even
yes.
if we're eating organic,
Most
we don't
definitely.
get the trace minerals. So we've got to have some kind of trace mineral support, because it's not in the diet. If you're not supplementing, you're deficient.
But you have to get the right one.
Exactly. You
So
want
good spring
ionic trace
water, the
mineral or
black
something.
water is very good.
I'm not familiar with that. I'm going to have to get some information on that
Yeah,
from you.
that's very good, the black water, along with good spring water. Because if you there's a company that I use, and I love her minerals. She's actually been here as a guest on the show, and we do sell the product. And I have people put that in their water, but it's not, you have to use a lot, and it becomes very expensive. So we want to make sure people get this. Take your bath, your magnesium bath.
Yep.
Magnesium bath. Now, this is something, and it's kind of an old wise treatment, but I did try it. I was so tired, I was not going to go back out to the store. So I tell people, try to have some, your about 4 inches gauze, the wraparound.
Yeah.
And keep some red onions in the refrigerator or on the shelf, whatever's best for you. And I actually peeled the onion and wrapped it on the bottom of my feet.
Yep.
And took the gauze and wrapped it. They say put socks on and do it, but they were sliding out the socks, so that didn't work so good. So if you take the gauze and just hold the pieces, slices there, and wrapped it around your feet as well.
Well, onions and garlic have been used medicinally for
But on your
thousands
feet,
of years.
yeah.
Well, it's absorbed directly into the system.
It certainly is. And the next day, I actually felt really good. And, your soups, and we talk about that and what you're going to, drink. Try to make sure that you don't want to feed the body too much food, especially meats or anything like that. Because
the denser proteins.
Exactly, because what's going to happen, it's going to put a lot of work and energy on the body.
Well, you can
So-
use I like a collagen-based protein. The studies that were done at 10 grams a day were incredible for osteoarthritis and rheumatoid arthritis. And collagen is good for hair, skin, and nails, and we all want
It
that.
is. Can't you tell that I take it?
Absolutely.
A grandmother soon to be of 10.
Absolutely.
And I have
we're
a
gonna
birthday
get
next
older.
month.
We're going to get older, but let's do it well. And over the years, I know you have. I've had patients. Well, if I'd known I was going to live this long, I would have taken better care of myself. And I just want to thump them. We're here till we're gone. Let's plan on being really, really old, and then just croak.
I just don't want to look it.
No, thank you.
I don't want to look it. I'm sorry.
You
I'm
can't
vain.
do that in LA. You can't do that in LA.
Well, I won't, because of the things that I do. And my mindset
Oh God, yeah.
is I'm not going to go through those things. So I haven't, which has really been a blessing. I've had enough other things happen. So, taking care of ourselves. But, and then we get into sleep. Sleep
people
is so
shortchange
important.
themselves on their sleep.
Yeah. And then sleep hygiene. So make sure if you are sleeping, make sure the cell phones are not, at the bedside. Your clock is not at the bedside. That the room is dark, that you're getting good quality sleep.
That's one thing I've asked patients over the years. What time do you go to bed? And they go late. Well, what time? 1:30, 2 o'clock. What the name of God are you doing up at 2 o'clock in the morning? And her husband goes, Facebook. No. That stops tonight. You can't do that. That light interferes with the production of melatonin. And it has to be dark for cortisol to dampen. Cortisol and melatonin have an inverse relationship. Cortisol has to dampen to allow melatonin to rise.
Exactly.
Melatonin should peak 12:30 to 1:30. They be filtered out so that by dawn, cortisol can rise. So we need to do things to help dampen cortisol. There are a lot of tricks that you can do to dampen cortisol, but shutting off your electrical equipment, your cell phones and your iPads, shut all that stuff off. Don't even have it in the
don't go to
bedroom.
bed with that and have it in the bed, because
No.
other times people wake up and said, "Oh, this one girl had migraine headaches," and the phone was underneath her head. So
No.
we have got to do everything we can to keep our system healthy, your home environment clean. So not using a lot of synthetics in your house, a lot of aerosol sprays in the house.
That's just responsible stewardship.
Yeah.
You take care of your physical vehicle. That's the one and only thing that there are no replacement parts for. People take better care of their automobiles. You can buy a new car. Spare parts for your physical vehicle are few and far between and really expensive and problematic.
Yes.
And I think that when people plan to be older, that you do it better. Because everything that I do, I don't like limitations. I'm the original willful child. Quickest way to goad me into doing something is tell me, David, you can't. It's like, oh, yeah, watch. It's like a dare. So I
Yes.
think in terms of what's the best choice of what's available, because diet says there's things I can't do. Can't's not part of my vocabulary. So, and it also, when you say you can't have diet, that automatically goes to people's deprivation consciousness. So you say, just make the best choice. Whatever it's available, if you make the best choice and you get in the habit of making the best choice, you automatically eliminate all the junk food that people are eating.
Yeah.
And our diet is killing us. The standard American diet, the acronym is SAD because it's truly sad.
It's truly sad. Exactly. And, like I was saying, make sure you have your pen and paper, because if you miss a show, please share this with your friends. I have given out this recipe to so many people because of respiratory, and that's your turmeric, which there's a well-known company that you know of as well. And if people want to order it, they can order it from our website. But, it is a liquid turmeric with black pepper. I want you to talk about that.
Turmeric curcumin has been used, cultures and eaten, but when it's stabilized to a 95% standard ingredients and emulsified in a medium chain triglyceride base, then the black pepper extract is added, and on top of that, it makes a kick butt product.
Oh, yes.
You
yes.
can dampen inflammation, and it allows you, it's like a dispensed in a syringe pump thing where you can meter the dose very carefully, because if you've never used turmeric before, if you get it on anything, throw it away, because it's not going to wash out. It stains
No, it isn't.
orange.
Yes.
Everything.
You could almost use it for lipstick.
Absolutely. But it is one of the best products for dampening inflammation.
It certainly is.
And it's much better than capsule products, because the medium chain triglycerides
this product
really
is phenomenal, and
help the absorption
and being liquid.
big time.
And also, it will be on our website come Friday, so people will be able to order or call the office at 310-419-4300, and I will make sure I'll get this to you. But not just get that to you, because I'm into a thorough history. I want to know everything going on with you, medication, lifestyle. So you'll receive a very in-depth questionnaire from me that's going to cover all that. So then I know exactly how we need to do. So we do set up, consultations, and I do have a concierge service. And in some cases, like I said, we might need to go a step further and see what's going on.
Oh.
But your oxygen saturation and all this is going to be looked into, because those are very important tools.
Based on your knowledge and experience, you can pull something out of your hat at the moment. But really, it helps to understand. The first doctor that I worked with And his second year in residency is when they discovered penicillin. He was more inclined to irrigate the sinuses with a saline solution before giving you an antibiotic.
Wonderful.
And it would take
I
him
was gonna
2
bring that up.
hours to do a history and physical because he had to process through his brain the chronology and the series of events that had you sitting in front of him. And all of our patients were chronic fatigue, environmentally ill, chemically sensitive, multiple food allergy patients, candida systemic yeast patients with antibodies to show that there is a yeast problem.
Oh, yes. It's
And
always going to be.
These people, when you look at a standard blood test, they look relatively normal.
Well,
So
this is why we do functional. We do
they're
functional
perceived
blood.
as being
Yes.
as having a Prozac deficiency instead of actually being physically
Well, now
unwell.
it's a steroid deficiency. Everybody I talk to is getting prednisone.
That's scary.
Everybody. And everybody that I have gone to hospitals, they're telling me, oh, they're giving me the steroid. And so that's
Immune
becoming...
dysregulation, blood sugar dysregulation, thinning of the bones,
Everything.
increased risk of cardiovascular
And
disease.
I tell people, there's a multitude of side effects.
Oh, big time.
And it just masks the problem.
Yeah.
You just mask the problem. You're going to feel good, but is the problem still there? Is the problem
Briefly.
there?
Yeah.
Yeah. And
No,
it's
but
briefly.
this flu season, they say, 29 people have died. Okay, I'm willing to bet that they weren't the healthiest patients to begin with.
Yeah.
27, 28 people out of what's the LA metropolitan area, 3, 4, 5 million. That's not an epidemic by any stretch of the imagination. And they're trying to herd people in to go get the flu shot. I don't know what's in that. I'm not doing that. No, thank you. Not going to happen.
Well, I'm glad you said that.
My choice. I'm a big boy. I have enough information. I can make
Oh, yes. I have enough information as well.
I can make a rational choice.
Oh, yes. And it's sad because someone that I know very dearly had the flu shot and almost died. And they never talked about the lady who was in internal medicine who had the flu shot in her doctor's office, and she died in his office. Well, she could have had an allergic reaction, too.
Yeah.
Not to say that it was the flu shot.
Well, it's
But
in an egg albumin base, so if you have
An
a
egg
sensitivity
allergy.
to egg
Exactly.
yolk, egg white, and that's why Dr. Gableman's office, we would give a half dose, hoping to go in under the threshold of where we triggered their egg allergy. And then 3 weeks later, if they didn't have an adverse reaction, we'd do the other half if they wanted it.
Well, I have my own flu shot, and my flu shot is the vitamin C IV push, and they get a coenzyme Q10 IM injection.
Oh, really?
Yeah, with B12,
Cool.
and that's
I'll go for
why
yours.
you come on by, come on by.
I'll go for that any
And
day.
then we may do a nebulizer treatment, and the nebulizer treatment is done with something that's all natural as well.
Yeah.
So, and then when
IV
people leave,
glutathione is amazing.
people who come to my office, they don't leave out feeling bad. Everybody leaves out feeling good. You could have walked in there feeling bad, but you're not going to walk out. Number one is because we put God first.
Yes, amen.
We put God
Absolutely.
first and we pray. So I had a young lady a couple of weeks ago that had just a severe itching problem and didn't know it was. I said, well, you're chemically, we know, overloaded. But I actually put her on this machine in our office called a beamer, and within 2 minutes, the itching stopped. 2 minutes. But I can say it was the beamer because we prayed first.
Yeah.
And anytime you put God first in anything that you're doing and believe, you have to believe.
Everything works out better.
A lot of times you don't even need anything. People
Yeah.
have gotten healed over the phone by just believing, believing, anointing yourself, do what's right, let go of that negative thought pattern, forgive yourself, forgive others. That's all part of the healing. That's all part of the healing.
I think our birthright is health. God doesn't
Yes.
make junk.
No.
And I think he intended for us to have challenges because challenges make us stronger.
Yes.
But we're not wise stewards of our physical vehicle, of our temple. So you don't put garbage in a Maserati and cheap gas in a Maserati and expect it to run right.
Yes.
But the kind of stuff that people eat, for a quarter of a century, I've told patients to go to the market, find the biggest person in the grocery store, look at what's in the basket, and don't eat any of it. Because 9 times out of 10, that's a basket full of low-fat potato chips and fat-free cookies and diet sodas and junk. What an adult chooses to do distresses me, but then what I see people feed their children makes me an absolute lunatic.
And I watched that. And me having grandchildren, and I have some very astute daughters that make
I
sure.
would expect that.
Yeah. They make sure that they really give their children the right foods. And one, my youngest daughter is a nutritionist. She has her master's degree as a nutritionist. So she's the one that's expecting. So she's following everything to a T. And she really, really watched what the children eat, what they do, how she prepare, what she cooks with. I wish she lived closer because I would eat there every day. But she lives too far.
People say it's so hard to eat well, and actually it's not.
No.
I use my slow cooker. I use my convection oven. I can buy a nice piece of roast or something and throw it in the slow cooker.
Grass fed.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Organic, healthy protein.
Yes.
Throw it in the slow cooker. 6 hours later, work and do my thing. 6 hours later, it takes me 10 minutes to steam some veggies, protein veggies, easy peasy. It's dinner.
And you look very healthy.
And it's just, my mom is functional at 92, and I'm planning to be an old codger. If I have anything to do with it, they're going to have to chase me down and hog tie me to plant me. I don't intend to go quietly or anytime in the near future.
92?
Yep.
Wow.
All her teeth and most of her marbles. She is an awesome old woman. I love talking to her.
Oh, my goodness. And, I have some friends who are in that age. And then there's some that's in their 60s. It's like, oh, I have dementia. I'm like, really? I'm in my 60s. I don't claim that.
No.
I don't plan to.
No.
Because the way I'm going to take care of my body.
But I mean, you and I have a knowledge base that allows us to make wiser choices. And that's what this is all about, is we're trying to give people knowledge and information so that they can make a wiser choice.
Yes.
Life being made up of a series of choices, let's learn to make ones that serve us. More often than we make choices, it's going to bite us in the butt down the road.
It certainly will.
The blood sugar, the last couple of years, the research is calling Alzheimer's dementia type 3 diabetes, or brain diabetes.
Exactly.
Which is scary.
It is.
Because I see so many people looking at blood work that have
you know
blood
what?
sugar
You
issues.
have so much information and you talk fast. So we're going to slow it down a tad bit because type 3 diabetes we know as being
Brain diabetes.
Brain diabetes.
Yep.
Type 3. So people need to know that. You need to go to Life Extension and start looking at your hemoglobin A1C, blood tests. Do it now. Do not put that off. Do it now.
Don't wait till it's a problem.
I have a lady, her doctor told her that her 6.0 hemoglobin A1C was normal.
No.
No, so you
Not
should
by a
not
long
be
shot.
over 5.0.
That's an average of about 132. That's her average blood sugar.
And that isn't good.
Well, above 126 is the magic number that your drug deficiency is addressed. Then you're officially diabetic. And you're frying neurons way before that with these glucose surges and the insulin surges. So really and truly, the research is telling us that our ability to function cognitively as we age is very much related as to how well we manage our blood sugar now.
Now. Do not put it off. Start checking this now. So there's some baseline things you need to know. And if you have questions, once you do the blood test, you can call my office. We can set it up as a functional blood studies, because what you're going to see is normal. And I was bad with this years ago. People would come to a clinic and I would look at the blood test, and you go down the line and you say, okay, nothing looks like it's out of range. That was the norm.
Yeah.
But when you know better, you do better.
But you
So
see,
this is why I've taken all of the Dr. Karazian's classes.
Yes.
And on nutrition and lab testing and functional blood studies. I have all of his, it's amazing. When you know better, you do better, and then you pass this on, I do, to my patients as well.
Well, lab norms are created demographically, which means that they average the highs and lows of everybody that went in that lab to get blood work done.
Yes.
They take 2.5% off of each end. If you're in the 95 percentile, you're in the lab norm. I don't know how it was the last time you got blood work done, the last time I got my labs drawn. I didn't even want to be in the same species with those people, much less in the same demographics.
No.
Because they weren't healthy.
No, they were not. That's why I run mine through functional blood testing.
Absolutely.
So I look at it that way. And then I know, because, how do you tell a person, I think the PSA, even with PSAs now, is 0 to 4, is 0 to 3. Well, PSA, what does that mean? Prostate antigen cancer cell? It should be 0.
Possibly, but it's also an inflammatory marker.
Yeah.
So is there an infection that's driving the PSA?
Yeah, and people don't do that. Or did you do a PSA test after a rectal exam? I tell men, you're not supposed to have blood drawn after a rectal exam, because it's going to give you a false positive elevation.
Well, you want a PSA and a free PSA, and you want to monitor. And a lot of times in doing some of the testing, you find old marginally treated STDs underneath prostate inflammation in men that are 40 some odd. It just depends on how much of a dog they were when they were in their 20s, teens and 20s.
Oh, yeah.
Because not every STD, and even if you have overt symptoms, they give you antibiotic, the symptoms go away. They never check to make sure that there's not a lingering low-grade infection, low-grade infection hanging around that's fine in your 20s, but then you get to be 45 or 50, and all of a sudden, you have problems.
Exactly. You know, our show theme this year is wellness, love, and sex. So I tell people, try not to engage in anything like oral sex when you have a sore throat or you have a cold. You don't want to do that. Those things are not healthy behaviors during that time. So if you have a runny nose or something going on, and sometimes people think, well, this is just minor. There's certain things you really don't want to be kissing. Neither. You don't want to be swapping saliva and bugs.
Do you want to really share your cooties with somebody that you say you love?
I didn't think you were going to say it that way, but okay.
Well, we're old enough to know what a cootie is.
Oh, yes. So, you know, be loving towards yourself. And, you know, if you're in a relationship, fine. If you're not, just be loving towards yourself. Take your magnesium baths, you know,
or Epsom salt bath.
Epsom salt baths.
Arm & Hammer baking soda. You can put a baking soda, magnesium.
Make sure
and
it's aluminum free.
Exactly.
Make sure it's aluminum free
really
baking soda.
It's good for the skin.
It's good for
it
the
just
skin,
helps to
pulling out the
relax.
toxin. But you know, it's also good for radiation.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it's good for radiation. We had a gentleman that was just a phenomenal person, and I miss him so. He was a guest on the show, who's no longer with us, who talked about the whole thing on radiation. Dennis Watts.
Okay.
So my prayers still go out to the family of him.
Absolutely.
Just phenomenal. He used to work for NASA, and we did a whole thing on. He was a physicist, so we talked about that. So the one thing he said too, I thought was great, was to grate a lemon. Freeze it first. Freeze it, make it hard as a rock. Freeze it. Grate the lemon, and put like the flakes of the lemon into the freezer.
The zest.
Yeah. And then every day, take a teaspoon and put it in the water and drink it. But you want everything because you want the bioflavonoid. You want the everything of the lemon. And that's the same thing with making soup. And we are going to put the recipe on the website on a healing soup for when you have a cold or a virus. You want to rest the body, not with a lot of heavy food. So try to do a clear broth soup.
Bone broth is good.
It's a reason why they used to throw the chicken in the pot.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not big on chicken at all, but organic chicken.
Range-fed organic, yes.
Organic, there are enzymes in the cartilage of the chicken that's really good to fight the virus.
When you look at chickens, they're crazy animals. My grandmother's a farm girl. She had chickens for laying eggs, and they're in their own space. You walk through them, and they're all hysterical. Can you imagine putting tens of thousands of them in a coop, and they're all vibrating at that hysterical frequency?
No.
You eat that and think you're going to maintain any degree of sanity in Los Angeles?
Not at all.
No. Then you've got the cows standing out in the field chewing their cud in the sun, just as happy as if they had good sense. I want that energy in LA.
But it has to be free range.
Yes, absolutely.
Free range.
We've toxified the food chain to such a degree, even in more so in the last 25 years, and that's changed more. And physiologically, we're identical to our ancestors. We have evolved zip in tens of thousands of years. It's just, for the most part, we smell better.
We do. But taking care of yourself, unless you're doing the garlic, the garlic for you're making the soup. So, it's several things you want to put in there if you want to add something to it. Just your garlic, your onion, lots of, your lemongrass. So lemongrass, but lots of lemon. But it's how that soup is prepared. You just don't go throw it all into the pot. It's certain things you want to put in, and certain things are more put in toward the end. And this is what we're going to be placing on the website as well. So you want to subscribe to our YouTube channel, New Wellness TV with Dr. Lee. Please subscribe to the channel. And we're going to place everything on the site, on the website, on our website too, on these diets and how to prepare them. Because certain things you want to put in the end. I love Manuka honey.
Yeah.
What is your thoughts and take on Manuka honey?
it's supposed to be antibacterial, antiviral. It's supposed to be good for everything, but it's an extract from the pollen that the bees have created.
Yes.
So and it's God's medicine. You know, the plants are God's medicine.
Right.
He created that for us, and we're too reliant on pharmaceuticals, more so reliant on pharmaceuticals. I hope I live long enough to see a wellness healthcare system instead of a disease management model.
I hope so too.
That's my prayer, because you know, for 320 million people, $2.8 trillion in disease care, we
Sad.
should be the healthiest people on the
We
planet.
should. We
But
should.
instead, we're 51st in terms of longevity. There's 33 industrialized nations, so for $2.8 trillion, we're sucking behind 17 third world countries in terms of the care that we, the people, have access to.
Slow down a little. Got a lot of good information. I want everybody, because it's so important.
Yeah, well, for $2.8 trillion, we're something like 51st globally when it comes to longevity. We're 51st, not in the top 5, we're 51st. And there's 33 industrialized nations, so that means that for $2.8 trillion, we're sucking behind 17 third world countries in terms of the health care that we, the people, have access to.
It's sad.
$2.8 trillion is a lot of money. That should be enough to buy radiant health for every man, woman, child in our
It should
country
be. It
if
should
that
be.
model worked. But it doesn't, because they don't tell you what to eat.
They don't tell you what to eat. Well, we know a lot of things are, I mean, our big brothers, and not mine, but the GMO and the Roundup. We have a lot of problems going on.
The European Union won't even buy our corn, our soy, or our wheat. That should tell us something. The only people stupid enough to eat that stuff is we, the people.
Yeah, I know. My daughter, I went to school, and my granddaughter in Belgium, and she came back. She said, you know, she had a history of asthma, and she said, I had no problems there. I felt good. She came back looking so radiant, very radiant, because of the food.
It's a different food consciousness.
And they do take breaks. They take naps. They go to bed a little bit earlier, too. So they have a routine there in certain countries that we just don't do here. We need to slow down.
Well, and certainly not in major metropolitan areas.
Oh, yeah.
But I mean, then you run into I've had so many friends that were single working moms, and there's not a more difficult path someone could choose to walk than to be the breadwinner and mom simultaneously.
Yeah. And some are married and still...
Single working moms.
Yeah. They still have a lot on their plate.
Oh, absolutely.
They have a lot on their plate. So, you know...
So it's diet and lifestyle. We don't get enough exercise. For years, they thought the brain physically shrinking inside the cranial cavity was a normal part of the aging process.
Isn't that sad?
This is
was
physiologic normal.
They told me that about my mom when I went to see her neurologist, that she has a normal aging pattern of her brain. I said, what are you talking about? What is a normal aging pattern of a brain? Really?
No. But when they found these seniors that didn't have walnuts rattling around inside their cranium, they looked at diet and lifestyle, and come to find out that walking, the lowest threshold was 6 miles a week. And it didn't make any difference whether it was all at once, twice a week, 2 miles 3 times a week. It made no difference, but that's the lowest threshold, which tells me that we are intended to be moving.
Moving our body.
Absolutely.
You have to move. Because my grandfather lived to be 100.
Oh, God bless him.
And if you saw his picture, I mean, he looked great. He looked absolutely phenomenal. I looked at him the day that he was making his transition, and I said, Granddaddy, people would pay money to have skin like yours.
Yeah.
And he walked every morning. He had a routine to have his oatmeal in the morning. That was his routine. He didn't overdo it. He didn't overindulge in food. He didn't overindulge in alcohol. He went to bed and got proper sleep. And he lived to be 100. Now, a little different from his son, my father, who unfortunately passed at age 65 from heart disease. But he had been married 6 times.
That could be enough to kill you.
You know, so I think with his lifestyle, and we look at lifestyles, you know, going through all of that stress through relationships, we have to be very careful. You know, even though my grandfather sometimes didn't look to be quite the happiest person, his lifestyle, him and my grandmother were together for 70-some years.
Wow.
You know, so
That's
she
rare.
lived to be in her late 90s and him to be 100. But he said it. So you have to be careful what you say, too. He said, I am going to live to be 100. When I was a child, he told me, I'm going to live to be 100. And he did.
My mantra is I want to be as well as possible, as long as possible. God willing, quick exit. Wake up dead's fine for me.
Okay.
Paying a stranger to change my depends doesn't work. I have control issues.
Okay. Control issues. Okay. No changing your depends.
No,
Okay.
but I want to function as long as I have a unique skill set and as long
Quality
as
of
I can
life.
be here and have a good quality of life and contribute to my fellow man, because I'm the original Boy Scout. Anything that I can do to help somebody, I'm going to. And if I can make it to 100, that's fine. I've always said, big 100th birthday party, nachos, margaritas, massive amounts of tequila, croak the next day of acute tequila toxicity. That sounds like a good exit plan.
Well, I think I'll do mine like my grandfather. He didn't quite.
Wake up dead.
But he peaceful. He just said, okay.
Yeah. Well, it should be. And I think that, I wonder if we lived with intention. I'm going to get older, I'm going to croak, but I want to be as well as possible, as long as possible. If we had that kind of consciousness, would we be able to close half of our nursing homes because we wouldn't be warehousing our 70-year-olds, our 80-year-olds, and our 90-year-olds, that they would be vital and functional up until they made an exit?
But how many meds are they on?
That's a scary thing.
You go in that nursing home and they push around the cart, and they're giving them how many pills, how many times per day. And they, I went to I used to oversee a lot of boarding care facilities. And one day I went to a facility on the wrong day. So at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, there was about 50 people and they were all asleep. So they were all over-medicated.
They were quiet.
They were over-medicated.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
And it was so sad because the people there are like, you're not supposed to be here today. And I said, well, why is it so quiet in here? They're all asleep. They're all taking a nap, all 50?
Yeah.
So they were over-medicated. So, I found out so many things over this last 30-some plus years of working in the community and working hospitals, and a little different working for the federal prison. That was a different type of stress for them, not for me. But and seeing so much, then you know what you need to do to start turning things around. I tell people, too, if you're in a toxic relationship,
Adios.
you're not going to heal well.
No.
No. You have to be happy. And the joy. And I ask people about the joy and the happiness, and do they feel loved? And number one, do they love themselves? Those things are very important to go through this whole journey.
I had a patient ask me a few years ago, so what are you going to do when you retire? And I'm like, people retire from stuff they hate. I love what I do. Why
Exactly.
would I retire? He's like, you want to be doing this when you're 70? I was like, well, you think I know a few things now. Wait do you see what I know in 20 years? He was like, oh, I never thought about it that way.
Yeah.
No, you worked for the city of LA. I'd take a pension and adios.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
just
I
think
let
of
go
what
of the
we're giving up.
hospitals, and I said, because I had a cousin ask me the same thing. When are you going to retire? Then after I told him all the things I was doing, he said, well, I'm retired. Maybe I should just follow around with you all day. I said, I have fun.
Yeah.
I have fun watching people. It gives me great joy
my
to see a
Lord, yes.
person heal
Yeah.
and, turn some things around in their life. It just gives me so much joy. I mean, I
It's the
leave
most
work and
incredible
I'm so
thing.
energetic.
Yeah. No, it's the most incredible thing you can
It
do.
is. It really
We
is.
can be of service to our fellow man. People benefit from our skills, and we can make a living in the process.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my Lord, we're blessed.
Yes, we are. We are. So, we have a few more minutes, and I want you to look into the camera like you look into the eyes of a patient. And what would you tell them? I want you to leave them some wonderful, powerful words here. What would you tell them?
Make wise choices most of the time.
Most of the time?
Puritans are a pain in the butt. You can't take them anywhere. But if you make wise choices most of the time, I think you're ahead of the curve.
Okay.
Absolutely. And you're not getting out alive. Enjoy it. Live life.
You're not getting out alive. I
No.
like that. Not getting out alive. Definitely. Make definitely wise choices. And what else would you tell them?
Be happy. I mean, good heavens, we're so incredibly blessed to have the options that we have access to. We have access to this brilliant woman that I'm sitting here with that I've known for many, many years.
Thank you.
And it's just, we live in such an incredible time. And I don't know if you've read Ray Kurzweil's book, Fantastic Voyage, the science of living well enough, long enough to live nearly forever.
Really?
We're on
Oh, I
the
haven't heard
threshold. We're on the threshold of some amazing things with stem cell technology
Oh,
that will make
yes.
kidney transplants and liver transplants and insulin for diabetics. Has the potential of making all of that obsolete.
Yes, and also PRP.
We can heal.
Yeah, the protein-rich plasma.
Yes, absolutely.
Actually, instead of having a bone graft put in your mouth, you can do the PRP
And grow your own bone.
grow your own bone with your own plasma.
Yeah.
You know, they're growing hair. A friend of
We're-
mine yesterday came to the clinic yesterday, and she had the injections around her hair because her hairline was receding. I'm telling you, now they're doing the P shot for the men for more erection, and they have the O shot. That's a doctor doing that. And this is what your own plasma, protein-rich plasma, which we're going to get into it later.
We're on the threshold of
We
some
are.
amazing, amazing technology.
Exactly. So if you want to be well, and one thing I want to say, there will be a lot of things put on the website for the flu and colds prevention, and if you already have it, so that you don't have to feel so bad with it, even though you've had maybe a cocktail from the emergency room. There's some things that you can do yourself at home so it doesn't last. I mean, I stayed in the bed for 3 days. I felt fine the second day, but I said my body need to rest. Do not, I don't know, I can't stress this enough. Once you start feeling better, do not get up and start
No.
that same routine. Because if you do
Don't
and it
overdo.
rebound, that's why I think a lot of people are getting very sick. And you brought up a good point stating that the people who have passed, where was their immune system prior to? Where was their immune
I'd be
system
willing
prior
to bet
to?
they were vitamin D deficient.
Exactly.
They probably had a poor diet compared to how you and I eat.
Too much sugar.
Way too much sugar.
And the microbiome in
Is
the body
altered.
was definitely altered. You got to
And Lord
definitely
knows
make
how
sure.
many medications, prescription medications or patent medications they were taking.
And the probiotics and the prebiotics, and when you take them is very important. So I just want to say, I will have everything on the site from healing popsicles for the kids with sore throats. I will have everything on the website for you to, it should be there up and running by Friday. So if you have any questions, just go to New Wellness Healthcare, or please go to our YouTube channel and subscribe. It's really important that you do that, because I'm doing this at UBN, and I have wonderful Jarvis here with me as the producer to work with this, to bring information so that we can have a healthier life. I mean, nobody even knew that I was out. I still just kept going. After I took the 3 days, I had to have the 3 days. So once I took the 3 days and said, okay, I got to shut it down, because it's no way I want to have a rebound, because that
No.
was
A lot
pretty.
of times that's worse than the first go around.
Yeah, and people have been. They've
Yeah.
been a lot worse. So we're going to definitely take care of ourselves, drink our soup, drink our fluid, have a great mindset, stress, know your vitamin D3 level, get in the right minerals, drink the right water. So all that's going to be on the site. It's for you too. I do like the product, with the black pepper, the cumin with the black pepper.
Turmeric.
And there's some other ones too that we're going to place on our site.
A couple
And-
homeopathics.
Yeah, and you'll be able to go to the site and just go ahead and purchase them. But again, take time to love yourself. Take time to love yourself. Gargle with food grade hydrogen peroxide. You can also take
Salt water.
hydrogen peroxide. But you could take that, because a lot of times there's hair in the cilia. The hair projection in your nostrils was there for a reason, to try to catch some of that so it doesn't go into the lungs. So you can take the food grade hydrogen peroxide or salt water and just, get a Q-tip, not a Q-tip, but a cotton ball, and kind of wipe through there.
Yeah.
Because this is, and once it get past your nasal, then it's going to get into the throat, and then you have a sore throat. So you got to look at how things travel down into the lungs. Try very hard to not let it get into the lungs, because that's when you get this horrible cough, you get all the mucus, you get the bronchitis and the pneumonia and dehydration. You have no appetite. But, push it with the clear liquid diet in the smoothies.
HEPA filters in the bedroom to filter out, or in the house to filter out all the particulate crap.
Definitely. I have one in my house.
I have
Got to
two
put a
HEPA
filter
filters
there.
going 24/7.
Yes. So I want to thank everyone for tuning in. If you have any questions, please, you're watching, text us, not text, but Facebook. Leave the question there. It will be answered. I'll make sure personally myself the question will be answered for you. And again, visit our YouTube channel And I want to thank you very much for tuning in today with my wonderful guest here, David Elliott. Thank you so much for being on the
Thank
show
you.
today. Thank
Enjoyed
you.
it.
And as I always say, I didn't forget to bring my little badge. I have it on today. So I want everybody to repeat after me. But this is for you. You're going to repeat after me, but this is for you. I am.
I am.
And we know the power in the I am.
Absolutely.
So grateful
So grateful.
that I am
I am
a magnet
a magnet
for miracles.
for miracles.
And just watch them unravel. Watch them. But take that in and say that every morning and believe it. Feel it in your spirit. Feel it in your soul. And everyone, be blessed. Thank you for tuning in.
Join us every Wednesday live at 11 a.m. for New Wellness TV with Dr. Lee. Remember, healthy mind, healthy body.